I'm made quite aware regularly, myself included, of used mental health services. We've all been made recently aware of the Blue Light Champions. It's something that's been rolled out in Cleveland Fire Brigade. You know, we like to look after each other. We have close watches, close stations. You notice when somebody's not right. So even over a cup of tea, you know, 9 times out of 10 somebody says, "How are you doing? How are you getting on?" And it starts a conversation, and that's where it starts from. I think that there's people out there who need mental health services. You know, things like Mind and social media and other things that we have in our brigade. People are aware they're there, but it just takes that one ask, that one phone call, that one somebody to say, "Is everything okay?" And that might just be that lifeline that that person needs. So yeah, I think there's definitely people think that firefighters are maybe, you know, quite hard as nails, for want of a better word, but we're not. We're human. We see some things and we have some problems at home and at work.
A lot of the incidents we attend to are sort of cross-service, so we'll attend alongside the police, the fire brigade, the Coast Guard, and we work quite closely together, and I think the mental health campaign is really, really important. My assumption before I joined was that a lot of the incidents we'd be attending to would be the typical people lost in the fog, or a mechanical injury, they've hurt their ankle, broken a leg, whatever, and it'd be rescues in that sense. But very, very quickly, some of the calls we've gone to, you know, they can stay with you, and that's a really big thing. We can have all the equipment in the world, it doesn't matter which emergency service it is, but essentially we're just people helping people, and sometimes the people that are helping, if you bottle it up, you internalise it, you take it home with you, it can be quite a damaging, dangerous thing. So we're trying to encourage within the team and across the services that we talk to each other, because ultimately some of the incidents we attend to can be a bit grisly, or can stay inside for a long time. It's no good.
I've been a volunteer with the RNLI now for nearly 40 years. And over those years, I've seen the crew go through a number of situations where things have been very difficult for them personally, and also difficult for them as a crew, as a team, where they've been facing very difficult weather conditions, challenging seas, and sometimes the rescue missions that we ask our guys to go to are very, very stressful in themselves, often related to people who are threatening to do self-harm or actually succeed in achieving self-harm. Although the lifeboat crews are all volunteers, we are a voluntary emergency service, and therefore we face the same rigours and the same stresses as all the other blue light services. So for us to be involved in the blue light scheme as we are now is very important to everybody, and we're hoping that we'll continue this through as a matter of course for the rest of people's time here at the lifeboat station.
I think there is still a massive stigma surrounding it, where people see us as police officers and think obviously they don't have mental health problems, or they won't have anything to do with that. But obviously on the flip side of us dealing with people with mental health issues, and we're still vulnerable, and we can still have the same problems as everyone else, because like you say, we are human.
As an operational manager, I deal with people on a day-to-day basis and try and support them through some of their issues, and I think that we use the Blue Light Foundation to signpost people whenever they're struggling with those issues. You know, I think there isn't really that much of a stigma attached to mental health at the moment. I think what my personal views are is that people might not recognise that they need that level of support, so they're coming to work and they're working through those stresses and those strains, or they might have recognised it, but what they tend to do is they carry on with work and they try and get through those processes themselves. And I think that's where the Blue Light Foundation is absolutely ideal, and it's a fabulous process to be able to signpost people to get that additional level of support.
I think it's really important. We all work together, we're all there to protect the public, we're there to help people. I think it's important for us to stick together. We have an understanding of how difficult it can be sometimes, and it's nice to have that support from other bodies, just to know that there's somebody there for you at the end of the day.
I got involved with the Blue Light programme about 2 years ago, where we had our local mind come into Cleveland Police and do a 3-hour supervisor's course, and it was on the back of that I became a champion, a Blue Light champion. So I was the first Blue Light champion in Cleveland Police. Went out of force to do a couple of courses, the Champions course and the Mental Health Awareness course, but at the same time I was also a welfare officer for 2 of my staff. And I think it was a lack of knowledge and a little bit of an embarrassment not being able to signpost them, say the right things, help them, that I thought, this isn't right, something needs to change here, not only as a police officer, but as a dad, as a husband, as a human being. We've still got that stigma attached to wellbeing and mental health in the organisation with any emergency services personnel. But we first started an anti-stigma campaign, Blue on the Loo, putting posters in the toilets to offer help, support and advice with the Blue Light programme. And it's slowly but surely changing, bearing in mind we've got 200 years of this culture and discrimination that cops haven't got mental health. We've got these invisible shields. We don't suffer any mental health, or well actually we do. And now it's being recognised, and it's giving our staff, I suppose, a voice to be able to recognise that for themselves and to actually speak up and say, do you know what, I've got this problem. Whereas as before, probably in January time, a lot of them wouldn't have been able to speak, go and see their supervisor or take it further because of the stigma around it. So we're slowly breaking that stigma down, but all the organisation will know about the Blue Light. We've got so many champions now, and it's just growing and growing.
Well, hopefully people coming into police force and other emergency services are going to have a long career in the role. And I think for most people it's a massive change, having to deal with crimes, members of the public and a whole range of other challenging issues that police officers face. So actually having some kind of grounding in place around how to look after yourself and how to manage your mental health and well-being is really important at that early stage, rather than letting issues develop and then trying to deal with them later. In this current phase, we've been delivering training to new recruits, and that's been 2 half-day trainings with a 3-month gap in between. The purpose of that gap is to allow people to reflect on the training, put some of the techniques and tools that we're offering into practice, and then come back after that 3-month period to be able to kind of reflect further on those and make sure that they're really useful for people, because sometimes it's things people haven't tried before, so making sure they feel comfortable and happy and that sense that they're kind of getting it right for them.
Blue on the Loo was an idea we came up with, and it was about preventing stagnation of the message, the mental health string throughout the police service. What we wanted was something impactful that changed on a monthly basis, so we could get people's attention, get them to look at it. And as you walk around any police station in the country, there's a multitude of posters that have sort of like people got fatigued by just looking at every day. There's no impact. So we change them on a monthly basis, something snappy, something to catch people's attention, but also make sure that it gives that message out that we're doing what we can with the mental health criteria that we've got, and we're really trying to help people out there, and it's got all the information on it. Anybody going to use the loo, obviously, is going to have a little bit of time to think for themselves, you know, rather than whistle if they're looking at something straight in front of a urinal or on the back of a door. Everybody in the organisation uses it. They're in every loo in the organisation, and it does prevent that fatigue of putting it on a corridor where people just walk past it and it'll lose its impact. The reason I'm so passionate about this throughout the emergency services is because there was nothing when I had issues, and I had significant issues. I came back from those through the help of my GP and some other services that I'd found for myself online, and nothing through what you'd like to call the job. So Phil broached me about this and we spoke, and it was the right thing to do for my personal drive. It was something that really I believe in completely passionately. From that, from small acorns, I believe the saying goes, and personally I've signposted sort of 7 other people to official help, but you've got the unofficial aspect of come in, have a cuppa. 3 simple words: how are you? How are you doing today? It runs through the core of what we do throughout the North East, throughout all of the emergency services, throughout all the blue light services. And it's never been there before, particularly in the police, which is quite patriarchal. It's there now. It's not just germinating, it's viral, and it's really making a difference to people who need help.
One of the things that we've really realised is that we already knew there was a lot of evidence around our emergency services being at a lot greater risk of poor mental health. And obviously, as kind of experts in our field, from a mind perspective, the network of local minds now have really seen the impact of delivering one-to-one, really intensive stuff, and we're starting to see changes within those services in terms of resilience. What we found in terms of our work with the emergency services, particularly in some of those services where they're male dominated, there was very much that attitude that we're not able to talk about this, we still have to be tough, we have a front that the public have to see, and actually it shows us a sign of weakness if we start to talk about this, and I think we're making a real difference now. Our geography is really challenging, and I think because we are on a coastline, that automatically brings certain issues to us. So one of the terrible tragedies that our emergency services have to deal with is the loss of life to suicide. We know that, and that's really, it's really unpleasant. It's tragedy for anybody who's involved, and we really need to be very clear about the fact that very often you're getting volunteers who are going out to circumstances which are truly shocking sometimes, and there's an awful lot of work to do to make sure that we really promote resilience within those kind of disciplines, if you like. Some very young volunteers as well, who we're now seeing particularly in RNLI, in search and rescue. So young people who perhaps don't have the resilience of some more experienced staff. But yeah, it's been an absolute challenge, but I think it's also been a success for us. I think that's one of the things that sets our Blue Light programme apart, that we've been so inclusive and we've been able to make such a significant difference.